conversation that hits so close to home. How do you raise a resilient child? Our next guest is a serious disruptor. He has literally changed the way parents, school districts, and child care providers are looking at children today. It all started with this bombshell book. It's called The Anxious Generation, which sounded the alarm that kids' smartphones may actually be rewiring their brain. The author, yes, indeed, the author, Jonathan Haidt, is an American social psychologist and professor of ethical leadership at NYU who has made it his mission to help parents shift their kids from screen-based childhoods back to what we used to do, play-based childhoods. Remember that? And he is not sugarcoating it. He wrote in The Atlantic, the environment in which kids grow up today is hostile to human development. Please welcome best-selling author and the man a lot of people are talking about right now, Jonathan Haidt. Thank you so much. You know, when you say hostile to kids, technology is supposed to make us evolve, but you believe the opposite is happening to our kids when it comes to these smartphones.
Yeah, that's right. You know, technology helps us adults do all sorts of things, but our kids need to learn basic human skills like looking someone in the eye before they put a screen in their face for the rest of their lives. So what happened was, around 2011, 2012, it's as though somebody turned a switch somewhere, and all of a sudden, girls all over the world started checking into psychiatric emergency wards. They were cutting themselves. They were anxious and depressed. The boys are doing worse too, but the girls, it's just so sharp. And rates of anxiety, depression, self-harm, and suicide are way up, doubling on many of these measures. Very sudden, international. So what I argue in the book is that the only thing that can explain this is that we massively rewired childhood between 2010 and 2015. In 2010, most teens had a flip phone, and they would use, you text, you say, let's meet up, you get together in person, then you have fun. By 2015, they all have a smartphone with a front-facing camera, didn't have that in 2010. They have Instagram, the girls are on Instagram, they have high-speed data, so now it's possible to be doing this. 8 hours a day is what the average is. Our kids are spending 8 hours a day on this, and that's not counting school or homework.
You wrote in the book, I want this quote for the audience, you said in the book, Gen Z became the first generation in history to go through puberty with a portal in their pockets that called them away from the people nearby and into an alternate universe.
That's right, yeah. So the way to understand this is for all you in the audience, especially those of you over about 35, think back on your childhood. Think back on all the great things in your childhood, all the excitement, all the adventure, all the fun. Okay, you got a sense of that? Okay, now, start pulling stuff out. Sunshine, how much sunshine did you get? Cut that by 50%, just take it out. Hanging out with friends, cut that by 60%. Kids are not spending time with other kids because they're doing this all day alone. Think about all the laughter you ever had, all the times you laughed with a friend. Cut that by 70%. And I could keep going. Books, did you read books? Those are gone, there's no time. Do you have any hobbies? Those are gone. So take almost everything out of childhood that made it worthwhile. What do you put in? Millions of 15-second videos, content that is kind of worthless. That's what I mean by it's like it's as though we sent our kids to grow up on Mars, where it's sterile. There's nothing there for them.
That's what you point out, the sterility of it. So one of the things that you say, 4 new norms you are asking parents to impose in our home. So here's the call to action. I learned about this because my son's school is a part of this. No smartphones before high school. No social media before 16. Phone-free schools, elementary through high school. More independence, free play, and responsibility in the real world. Okay, so, and I love that, but here I'll be that person to say, all right, you say phone-free schools, elementary through high school. School just started. We've already had our first shooting, deadly shooting. Some parents believe, well, and I'm kind of, my kid doesn't have a phone because he's only 5, but I get how a parent would feel like, well, if something goes wrong, my child can call me. If the phone is not available, then I might not be able to talk to my child or find my child in this sad reality of school shootings in this country. So how do you reconcile it?
So I'm a parent. I have 2 kids in New York City public schools, and I completely understand. I would want to be able to talk to my kids in that situation too. But we have to do what's best for the kids, not what's best for us. And if you think about it, You know, what the experts on school safety say is, okay, imagine this. Do you want your kid in a school where everyone has a phone? And as soon as there's an alarm, everyone pulls out their phone, they're talking, they're crying, they're saying goodbye. Or do you want a school where no one has a phone and they're listening to the instructions and they're doing the things they prepared to do?
Yeah.
So if you want to maximize the safety of your kids, do not give them a smartphone.
That's a great point. That is a great point, because if you're grabbing your phone, you're not present, and the people who are trying to move you to safety don't have your attention.
Right.
Okay, so I'll throw out this next one here. You have people who say, well, I don't want my kid to be the outsider. Everyone has a phone.
Exactly.
I remember my 10-year-old niece, not even my child, coming to me going, Aunt Tamron, everyone has a phone. And I'm like, no, everyone doesn't. But then I got her a phone. I know, and she's not even my kid. But I fell for the okie doke, as we say where I'm from. And I gave this 10-year-old a phone. I don't think my sister-in-law, she still doesn't speak to me because of it.
So you were put in the trap that all of us have been put in by the tech companies. They made these things as addictive as possible. They get the kids on, and once a bunch of kids are on and they're talking, gossiping, sharing photos, then everyone feels like, well, I have to be on too. And so the reason why I proposed those 4 norms that you listed is that it's really hard to be the one parent who says no when all her friends have a phone. But what if we do it together? What if we all agree, or even just talk to the parents of your kid's best friends? You have their cell phone, you pick up at birthday parties, whatever it is.
So
you
basically,
know them.
you gang up on them, because
If
if all the parents say we're not going to do it,
that's right.
You've
then it's
outnumbered them.
Exactly.
That's a great plan, Jonathan.
Diabolical
genius, you.
But let me make it even more positive, because everyone, as I talk about the book, everyone's focused on the phones. Oh, the phones are bad, we got to get the phones away. That's all true. But if we're just taking, what do they have? Now they got nothing. So that's why the 4th norm is so important. It is far more independence, free play, and responsibility in the real world. When your kid is 8 years old, probably your kid is able to go to a corner store a block or 2 away and pick up some groceries. Let them feel useful.
Jonathan, that's a whole other show. You got to come back. My whole life flashed before my eyes. Ooh, I got the shakes, Jonathan.
Right,
so you're saying pushing them into more independence.
Yes, because you have to restore fun in-person life. And then they won't be just desperate for the phones. They'll be out with their friends having fun.
I love it. Listen, it's a brilliant book. You can pick up Jonathan's book, The Anxious Generation. Find it wherever books are sold.